Hello everyone, and welcome to today's lecture on Issues and Challenges in Sustainable Development. This topic is critical for understanding how we can balance between economic growth and environmental conservation and ensure a sustainable future for everyone. Let's start by defining sustainable development. It is the process of meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This concept challenges the traditional belief of economic growth by prioritizing the intrinsic value of resources over their market value. It emphasizes balance between environmental conservation and development. It places some questions before us, such as, can economic growth coexist with environmental sustainability? And what are the specific challenges in achieving this balance? And how can policies and governance systems be designed to support sustainable practices globally? These questions will guide us through today's discussion. Let's move to next slide, which is Sustainable Economic Growth. Sustainable economic growth tackles important issues like poverty and hunger, while also prioritizing environmental protection. It focuses on development without harming natural resources. Let's discuss some critical issues in sustainable development growth. Number 1, Natural Resource Management or NRM. One of the biggest issues in sustainable economic growth is the effective management of natural resources. For instance, managing land and water resources efficiently is critical for handling issues like deforestation, desertification, and loss of wetlands. These challenges not only affect agricultural productivity, but also have long-term implications on food security. The second important issue is the role of transnational corporations or TNCs. TNCs have a dominant presence in the global economy. By the mid-1990s, TNCs controlled two-thirds of global trade, and their combined sales accounted for 28% of the world's GDP, yet they employed less than 1% of the global workforce. This disparity highlights how economic benefits are unequally distributed, with profits often prioritized over fair resource allocation. Of the world's largest economies, 51 are corporations, while only 49 are countries. For example, the budget of Mitsubishi Corporation exceeds that of Indonesia, the world's fourth most populous country, rich in natural resources. Policies must ensure that TNCs are held accountable for their social and environmental responsibilities. Third issue is foreign direct investment or FDI. Developing countries often make regulatory concessions to attract FDI, prioritizing immediate economic benefits over long-term sustainability. While this brings immediate economic benefits, it can also lead to overexploitation of resources. This narrow view of FDI can lead to overexploitation of natural resources. Policies need to strike a balance between attracting investment and ensuring sustainability. The Earth Summit introduced essential themes like stewardship, governance, and innovation to promote sustainable practices. These themes guide policymakers in integrating environmental considerations into economic growth strategies. In next slide we will discuss the Contentious issues in sustainability. There are several contentious issues which complicate the path to sustainability. Let's discuss these. First contentious issue is global inequities. Rich nations consume a disproportionate share of global resources, while poorer nations often bear the environmental costs. For example, tropical forests in developing countries serve as carbon sinks for emissions generated by industrialized nations. This creates an imbalance, where the burden of conservation falls disproportionately on poorer countries. Second contentious issue is biotechnology and genetically modified foods or GM foods. While biotechnology and GM foods promise higher yields, they often disrupt indigenous agricultural practices and threaten biodiversity. For instance, reliance on GM crops can increase dependency on multinational corporations for seeds, further marginalizing small-scale farmers. Third contentious issue is Kyoto Protocol and climate agreements. Global frameworks like the Kyoto Protocol aim to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. However, debates persist over who should bear the brunt of these obligations. Developed nations argue for equitable responsibilities, while developing nations emphasize historical emissions and the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. Agenda 21 also highlights the need for sustainable development that balances environmental protection with social and economic growth. It calls for global cooperation to address these issues. Fourth contentious issue is Polluter pays principle. This principle mandates that entities causing environmental harm should bear the costs of mitigation. That means, if you pollute, you pay. It's about holding industries accountable for environmental harm. For example, industries using obsolete, polluting technologies should internalize these costs to discourage harmful practices and promote cleaner alternatives. Let's switch to next slide, which is achieving sustainable livelihood. In this section, we will explore the concept of achieving sustainable livelihood, which focuses on ensuring that people have the resources and capabilities to live secure and fulfilling lives. Let's explore its components. First of all, we will discuss about the 5 capital assets. There are 5 kinds of capital assets: natural, social, human, physical, and financial. Let's discuss these 5, one by one. First one is natural capital. It means natural resources like land, water, and biodiversity. These resources are essential for survival and economic activity. Without these, there's no foundation for survival. Second one is social capital. It refers to trust, networks, and community support systems that enable communities to mobilize resources for sustainable livelihood. Third one is human capital. It comprises of skills, knowledge, and health. These empower people to pursue various opportunities and strategies for sustainable livelihood. Fourth one is physical capital. It includes infrastructure like roads, shelters, and tools. These assets support productivity, and without these it is nearly impossible to achieve sustainable livelihood. And fifth one is financial capital. It refers to savings, credit, and other financial resources that provide stability and flexibility options in times of need. And next component is participatory poverty assessments (PPAs). PPAs empower communities to voice their needs and shape policies. For example, PPAs in Uganda and Zambia are pivotal in creating strategies to combat poverty while ensuring sustainability and protecting the environment. And third component is trade-offs and resource depletion. We know that overexploitation of resources for short-term gains often leads to long-term sustainability challenges. Balancing these trade-offs is essential for equitable growth and development. Let's move to next slide, living in harmony with nature. Humanity's relationship with nature is very important for sustainable development. Let's look at some of its key elements. First one is Stockholm Declaration 1972. This declaration emphasized on harmony between development and ecology. It recognized that humans are both creators and molders of their environment. It advocated for harmony between development and ecological balance. Despite this, challenges like pollution, global warming, and resource depletion persist and even continue to grow. Next is tradable environmental permits. These permits offer financial incentives to reduce pollution and resource conservation. For instance, carbon trading mechanisms provide financial benefits to those industries who adopt cleaner technologies and sustainable practices. And then, appropriate technology. It says that technology should meet ecological and community needs while protecting the environment. Renewable energy systems, community-owned enterprises, and innovations tailored to local contexts exemplify this principle. For example, Gandhi's charkha isn't just a spinning wheel, it's a symbol of self-reliance and sustainable practices. And the last one is global governance. Frameworks like Agenda 21 aim to align trade liberalization with sustainability goals. By promoting equitable resource distribution and emphasizing environmental conservation, these frameworks provide a roadmap for harmonious global development. Till now, we have discussed various aspects of sustainable development. Let's summarize it. Sustainable development requires a multifaceted approach. Till now, we discussed about equitable resource distribution. Ensures that all nations and communities should have fair access to resources, and this is critical for achieving global sustainability. And then, technological innovation. We should develop and adopt technologies that prioritize sustainability over profit. Developing such technologies are essential for long-term sustainable growth. And we also discussed about participatory governance, which refers to engaging all stakeholders in decision-making processes and also ensures that policies are inclusive and effective. And we also came across some global frameworks, like the Kyoto Protocol and Agenda 21, which help to address global challenges such as climate change and resource depletion. By addressing these challenges and opportunities, we can create a sustainable future that balances economic growth with environmental stewardship. Thank you for your attention. I hope this lecture has provided a comprehensive understanding of the issues and challenges in sustainable development. In our next session, we'll study Unit 5 of MED 002, Natural Resource Exploitation.